On this episode of Buncombe Bulletin, we have a lot to cover and just a couple minutes for each report. Most of these stories have a longer interview if you're interested. Visit Buncombe County's YouTube page, youtube.com/bcgovtv, for more in-depth reporting on each topic. Otherwise, let's get started.
Right now, we actually have an average of about 318, give or take, children who are in foster care who have experienced abuse and neglect. We also have, on average, about 380 calls in from the community per month of allegations of some type of abuse, neglect, or dependency. Ultimately, when we respond to a call, we want to meet with that family to see what type of supports and services they would need in terms of trying to assess, first of all, to see if there has been any child abuse or neglect to occur. If there has been, then we have to, of course, take certain steps to protect that child or the children that might be in the home at the time. If we find that there has not been, but the family needs support, then we want to offer those services from the very beginning, from our initial contact with the family. The most important part, I feel, in terms of supporting children and families in the community is that we're all in this together. No matter your race, your ethnicity, no matter your sexual orientation, your political identification, it is important that we support the children in our community together. Every single child deserves to be safe. Children who are most successful have people who care about them. So of course that happens, we want that to happen in the immediate family. Then it extends out. Who is a neighbor? Who is a friend? Who can be a support, not only to that child, but to that family? So you can offer yourself to a child or to a parent to be a support if you see that they might need help. Maybe you can connect them to a civic group in your community, to other services. Should it become necessary that at any point in time, if you suspect that a child has been abused or neglected, we of course are here and we encourage individuals to call the Department of Health and Human Services to make that report to us so that we could respond and assess a family. The bottom line is that we want children to be safe and nurtured, and I feel that we can all do that if we work together as a community and help to meet the needs of not only the child, but we need to wrap our arms around the family as well.
Yeah, so I like to tell our patients that STDs in Buncombe County are like anywhere else in the country, like all the big cities. So if you're thinking Atlanta, New York, San Francisco, we've got it all right here in the Asheville area. A lot of that's because of our social media and our sexual networks have changed over the last decade or so. With the dating apps, if they're used for casual hookups, then when people come through town on their way to trips or just to vacation, they might have connections with people that are unprotected in the community, and then those infections spread. We have seen a really significant increase in the last decade of syphilis cases, and particularly in the last 5 years. Year over year over year, we're seeing increases in syphilis infections. This is really important for a couple of reasons. One is pregnant women. We're starting to see congenital syphilis. So that's when a baby is born infected with syphilis, and that could cause a baby's death or really significant medical complications. We went through a time period in our country where we had essentially no congenital syphilis, but then over the last decade, it's risen year after year after year, and last year was no different. So chlamydia and gonorrhea are often asymptomatic, so a person doesn't know they're infected when they have it in their throat or in their rectum. And even a lot of women don't have chlamydia or gonorrhea symptoms, and men as well, when they have genital infections. So I think the trick too is that understanding that, yes, some of the things we have are treatable, but a lot of them aren't. And this sense that, oh, if I get it, we can treat it, That is true to some extent, but actually our viral infections are the ones that are most likely to be life-limiting or life-threatening, and we don't have a way to treat most of those, and we certainly can't cure them. I think it's really important to think about the ways we can prevent sexually transmitted infections. Generally speaking, humans are sexual, and they're going to have sex, and young people have a lot of energy, and so they're probably going to have more sex, and having new partners, using dating apps to find new people in their lives. So prevention is really important. We have barrier methods. Barrier methods are really important. We've got the male condom, which is the one everybody thinks about. We have female condoms. So a woman can take charge. If her partner doesn't want to use a condom, she could use a female condom. And then we have dental dams, which is a covering over for having oral sex to protect. It's a barrier method for that. So there are preventive methods using barriers. There is something called PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis, and that's a medicine someone can take every day, and it prevents them from getting HIV if they encounter someone that's HIV positive. That's a really good method for folks that are having high-risk partners, or if their patterns of sex are high risk, then it's a great way to protect from HIV. It's not going to keep you from getting gonorrhea or chlamydia. The good news is, generally we can treat those with antibiotics, although we're starting to see some drug resistance in gonorrhea in the country. So if someone wants to be on PrEP, that's something we offer here at the health department. That's something that is also offered with the community health centers. Lots of places in the community can offer PrEP services.
Solarize Asheville Buncombe is a campaign open to everyone, and Solarize campaigns focus on the power of group purchasing to make the cost of solar cheaper for everyone involved. So businesses and residents, no matter who you are, if you're a Buncombe County business or resident, you can sign up for a free assessment. You will work with one of our selected installers to have a really streamlined installation and customer experience. The panels that we've chosen are extremely high quality with good warranties and workmanship, and we're just really excited to open this up for a limited time to encourage as many people as possible to sign up. Yeah, the more people who sign up, the more that people will save. So for example, if 15 people sign up, you unlock tier 1 of pricing, which is a certain level. If you reach tier 2, it goes down by 5 or 10 cents per watt of solar installed. So the more people who sign up, everybody will get that lower pricing.
The thing I like about this program is it not only is good for the environment by giving more people the opportunity to get solar in their house, but also a way to do it so it's more affordable. Many people are probably sitting here, well, I'd like to have solar in my house, but I don't know if I can afford it. I don't know about the financing options, and I'm getting all these calls occasionally from people I've never heard of before. And so we wanted to put together a program that people can trust, that's supported by Asheville organizations like the Sierra Club and I think 11 other organizations. And it's going to make it affordable for people that otherwise might not have to. So we're really excited about this, and we want to see everybody in Asheville and Buncombe County sign up for this.
When you go neighbor to neighbor to ensure that people have opportunity and they have education in order to care for the environment, and it doesn't have to be a cost burden, I think that's what folks want to hear. They want to hear that this is a groundswell. It's moving with power, it's moving with consideration from house to house, from business to business. When we go together, we go further. When we go together, it's more meaningful.
I mean, we want to pass on that gift to other community members and support any initiatives that involves job training and putting solar on people's homes who could really need it, you know what I mean?
Please visit solarizeabc.com and click Get My Free Assessment. We've had 150 people sign up so far, and we're really excited about that enthusiasm in the community.
We all understand how 911 works. If you're having an emergency situation, if you're injured, or if you see someone in trouble, you call 911. Fire, EMS, and law enforcement are dispatched and arrive as quickly as possible to offer aid. However, in some situations, the emergency aid needed involves more long-term assistance. One solution to this is community paramedicine, a new form of emergency assistance offered around the country and now here in Buncombe County.
After a thorough and intentional look at best practices across the country, Buncombe County believes our new community paramedicine program is necessary and a much-needed addition to our portfolio of emergency services.
We see this as the first step of reimagining public safety here in Buncombe County. this program is going to be more client focused about meeting the needs and getting that client with the right person at the right time.
What does this client-based service mean? It means that when 911 is called, the dispatchers have a new service they can send out to the scene along with fire trucks, ambulance, or law enforcement officers.
A paramedic is staffed 24/7, and that paramedic is able to co-respond with 911 in real time and meet the patient and EMS on scene. We then have the go-ahead to have our peer support person contact that patient within 72 hours to see where the patient is at, if they want help, and if they do want help, to plug them into resources they may not have access to.
These resources are essential to a successful community paramedicine program. This is about connecting those who need emergency assistance to local organizations who can offer aid depending on what the client is in need of.
So the goal of the community paramedic program initially is focused around opioid response, responding to individuals who are overdosed on opioids or suffering from substance abuse disorder, and providing those connections and resources in a timely manner within 72 hours. As we continue to grow this program out, we want to expand into mental health, chronic homelessness, underfed. To reach those needs is often a crossover with the substance abuse disorder in those populations.
And as we look at reimagining public safety and public health by hiring social workers, post-overdose response, MAT team members, crisis response team members, patient care navigators, and we're very hopeful that this pilot program will lead to reimagining public safety in Buncombe County.
First, the playground at the East Asheville Library branch is going to be opening in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a national demonstration site thanks to a grant that we were able to secure through Game Time and Cunningham Recreation. It's got things that support the whole community, the whole child, and the whole environment. So it's going to be a great space for multi-generational experiences to happen, as well as lots of sensory cool things that you wouldn't find on normal playgrounds that'll be changed out from time to time. A national demonstration site means that all the research that's coming out of the PlayCore Academy is going to be implemented into the site that we have here. That means that it will support the whole child and the whole environment. It'll have items that are traditional to a playground, such as swings and slides and climbing things, but then also some cool sensory stuff that will support children with intellectual disabilities, those who are on the autism spectrum, and spinning things and just really cool stuff. I think it's actually going to be the best playground that we have in our system. And another exciting project that we have that's actually in the planning stages at this point is a dog park that's going to be placed out at Buncombe County Sports Park near Sandhill Community Garden and Sandhill Community Orchard. It's going to have spaces for both small dogs and large dogs. We do have some dedicated funding from Buncombe County, but we're going to be competing for the PetSmart Bark for Your Park grant. For that, we're going to need a lot of community support. So if you think that there should be a dog park in West Asheville, Inca Candler area at Buncombe County Sports Park, be sure to head to our website, buncombecounty.org/parks, find out information on how you can help support this awesome project that will be going on there. That'll be a real win for our community. If you'd like to stay up to date on these projects or find out more ways that you can connect to the outdoors, to open spaces here in Buncombe County and recreation experiences, visit our website, which is buncombecounty.org/parks. Sign up for our newsletter, which comes out once a month, or visit us on Facebook or Instagram. We love to hear feedback, and we love to have that conversation going on with the members of our community so that we know how we can best serve you through parks and recreation experiences.
Prior to the new building, we had a building that had been here for many years that was significantly smaller. It was under 3,000 square feet, and it was very well used by the community, but it was beyond its capacity to serve the growing East Asheville community. So that's really what drove community interest in having a new library here, and you can see that the new library is very spacious, has room not only for our collection, but also ample community meeting space, and that's something that was very much lacking in the previous building.
When this library was built in the 60s, this was a very rural community, and it's really grown. And we have a lot of just individual people and families who come here, and it's always been so bustling and full of life, but really bursting at the seams with both books and people.
Libraries are really unique in our society. They're a place where everyone can come, interact with one another, have access to resources. It's really important to have that because there just aren't examples of that, outside of the library where you have this. It's almost like the community town square has evolved to become the library.
People came and gave their general ideas about what they wanted to see in a library in their community, and then we had a series of those that happened mostly at local churches, giving us their meeting space since we didn't have any at the library itself. And so through those meetings, we sort of refined what the library was going to look like.
Libraries have evolved quite a bit over time, and one of the things that is common that you see now in libraries across the country are these active learning spaces, such as the artist space that I mentioned. This will be the first instance of that for our system. So that's something I'm really excited about. It's a showcase for what's possible in our library system, and I think people are really going to be impressed by this space. It's wonderful, it's attractive, it's inviting, there's lots of natural light, so just a wonderful space to spend time in.
There's a lot of cool things that would happen at other libraries that we couldn't do here, but now that we have this space and opportunity, we can. A lot of plays and a lot of people coming to showcase things for the community. Now we can have that opportunity to have all of that here.
Students at the Nesbitt Discovery Academy are taking it upon themselves to monitor water quality for specific local waterways to keep track of impurities and come up with plans to improve it.
As team leader, I'm very excited to announce the Service Learning Project. Students at Nesbitt will host the first student-led VWIN stream monitoring volunteer water information network, which is a group of students who will monitor surface water. Specifically, students will perform monthly sampling to monitor stream health.
The goal of the project is to install a stormwater wetland and outdoor environmental learning center. Stormwater wetlands are constructed wetland systems designed to combine the natural functions of wetlands to help remove pollutants from stormwater. Martin Nesbitt Discovery Academy is a top-ranked STEM school of distinction. Expanding the grounds to include the outdoor classroom and nature trail with tree identification would allow students the land resources to create their own independent research projects related to environmental engineering.
Having an outdoor classroom helps students understand how their decisions and actions affect the environment, builds knowledge and skills necessary to address complex environmental issues, and helps us to create action steps to keep our environment healthy and sustainable for the future.
The Martin Nesbitt Discovery Academy was constructed on a site that was formerly an electronics manufacturing plant, which was reflected in our preliminary soil samples and water conductivity tests. They're both extremely high in metals. To help improve this, aquatic plants will play an important role. They do not only absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the water, improving the aquatic habitat, but they also absorb nutrients from the water as well. This reduction in nutrients results in clear water and less algae.
Here at Nesbitt Discovery Academy, we encourage project-based experiential learning. Through the Envirothon competition and our new water monitoring project, students will learn firsthand how to monitor and improve their local water systems, which will make positive impacts in our water quality for neighboring communities.
Students will take soil and water samples, monitor the water quality and soil health of the project before, during, and after installation. Seniors will then develop research projects to expand monitoring to more current environmental issues. It's a great project with both environmental and student learning impacts.
It was a perfect combination that led to the county's Equity and Inclusion Work Group's creation. It started with the current administration, which is relatively new. County Manager Avril Pender took the lead in March of 2019, with Sybil Tate and I joining as assistant county managers in July of 2019. We started planning how we would make progress, first internally to the organization. The first thing we did was set out to create the Buncombe County Equity and Inclusion Work Group. It began in February of 2020 for a dual purpose. One, to implement an equity action plan to make sure our processes and policies were equitable, and to establish communication with our residents, especially those whose voices had not been traditionally included in the county's decision-making processes. The Racial Equity Action Plan is organized in a way that clearly defines foundational and community-focused areas and strategies. The foundational strategies are intended to transform our internal organization through policy and procedure review, a comprehensive equity training curriculum for staff, equitable recruitment policies, and purchasing and financial and budget decision-making practices. The goals for our community have to do with addressing current inequalities. They will rely on strong relationships with residents and partners, include improving life outcomes in various sectors like housing, economics, health, justice, and recreation. For example, funding to address specific needs for Black, Indigenous, and people of color, also known as BIPOC populations, review zoning to determine if BIPOC populations are disproportionately and harmfully impacted from their application, partner with schools and the justice system to end the school-to-prison pipeline, reduce community violence, and increase community safety. We've been getting questions about the role of this plan and how it relates to the announced reparations. When the board passed its resolution pledging community reparations to the Black community, it specifically directed our equity and inclusion work group to continue prioritizing racial equity in the Buncombe County Strategic Plan and named specific urgent priority areas to focus on. Those areas are included in the draft of this Racial Equity Action Plan. We will not let this fall to the wayside and intend on creating infrastructure to ensure that this work is sustainable and integrated in everything we do. I'd ask the community to engage, get excited, and be a part of the work.
The Secure Your Load campaign was born out of a need to address the litter issue within Buncombe County recently. Up until COVID, we had a partnership with the correctional facility where we would employ inmate labor to help us at Solid Waste pick up litter on an almost daily basis. Since COVID, we have since lost that partnership due to safety concerns. And the litter, as residents have noticed, has gotten noticeable. So we created the Secure Your Load campaign to raise awareness for everyone who is traveling with their waste to the either transfer station or landfill or really anywhere within the county, to let citizens know that it's the law to secure your load, that it will really help our environment and our community in terms of reducing litter. What we mean by secure your load, and we are asking residents to be sort of load warriors. Cover the backs of your trucks, cover whatever needs to be secured that you're transporting, whether that's mulch, whether that is a fridge, whether that's just miscellaneous garbage bags. These all have the potential to escape while you are driving, and many people don't realize that most roadside litter is blown, not thrown. So people are not generally actively throwing litter from their vehicles. This is all accidental, and it is all preventable. Even if it's accidental and it's blown, not thrown, littering, it's littering, and this is a punishable offense by law. There is a North Carolina general statute that states that this type of litter can be fined, and it is enforced by the state. And we want to make people aware that a state trooper could potentially stop your vehicle and you would potentially get fined for this. So we just want to raise awareness of this issue, keep everyone safe, and keep our environment clean.